Well, my friends, welcome back to Spot On with Link Lauren, a show where we're going to break down the calamities of Hollywood, the circus of Washington, D.C., and everything in between. Today is Memorial Day, and we were talking last night as a team. We are so grateful to everyone who has made the ultimate sacrifice so we can sit here and run our mouths on this show. Some of you have either served this country or you've waited at home for someone who has been overseas, and for that, we are incredibly grateful. So thank you. I also have to point out, I'm thinking right now, President Trump recently signed an executive order to give veterans more housing. And one thing that has really just ticked me off the last few years, especially under Joe Biden, is that if you walk around New York City, you see illegal migrants being put up in hotels while veterans are asleep on the street. I'm so happy that is turning around and we are reversing course on that. So on Memorial Day, thank you, thank you, thank you. We have a jam-packed show. We're going to talk about Lauren Sánchez, Jeff Bezos, their ridiculous, over-the-top, multi-million-dollar wedding. We're going to talk about Brigitte Macron allegedly punching or slapping her husband, Emmanuel Macron. That is going to be at the top of B Block. We're also going to be breaking down Harry and Meghan news, everything you guys need to know. Kamala Harris was calling Anderson Cooper a mother-effer. There is a lot to break down on this Monday, so we have no days off. Let's dive right in. So we have to talk about Miss Lauren Sánchez. She is engaged to Jeff Bezos, who is worth about $200 million. By the time this episode comes out, he might be worth about $300 million because I can't stop ordering things on Amazon Prime. So a video came out of them a few days ago, and we'll show it to you in a minute. In this video, their body language is so bizarre. In fact, Jeff Bezos, it looks like a cry for help. His wife, Lauren Sánchez, she is performing for the camera. She's kissing him. She's all over him, but she really is posing to me. The second I saw the video, I just thought this is performative. It's phony. It's fake. They might be madly in love. Maybe Jeff Bezos was tired. Maybe he had taken an edible. I don't know what's going on with Jeff Bezos, but this really looked like someone who was performing for the cameras. And in a way, I don't blame Lauren Sánchez. She was never that famous. She was never that rich. So now she's marrying the owner of Amazon. Wouldn't she be all over him, right? And now we have to talk about the engagement ring. So there is this engagement ring that my producers tell me is worth about $5 million. He gave it to her in 2023. It is a 30-carat diamond. Now, if I had that type of ring, I might be showing it off too, okay? That ring, the Mars rover could see that ring from outer space. I don't know what the hell is going on with these people. They are living a life none of us can relate to, okay? A $5 million engagement ring is absolutely insane. But this couple, I don't know if they're gonna go the distance. I really don't know. They're all over each other. They have PDA. But one thing I have to say about Lauren Sánchez is she is the antithesis of Jeff Bezos' ex-wife. She is kind of the second wife you expect a wealthy man to have, right? He had Mackenzie Scott, who he was with on the way up. He became famous and wealthy with Mackenzie Scott. She walked away, I think, with half of Amazon. Now we have Lauren Sánchez, who's basically this hot, sexy Latina vixen. That's who Jeff Bezos is with now. It'll be exciting to see who his third wife is. Now, we have to talk about the bachelorette party. So this bachelorette party has been all over the internet. I don't give a rat's ass about these people, actually, if I'm being honest with you, but I have been bombarded with this bachelorette party. You guys have been sending me the pictures and the videos. This was a star-studded bachelorette. So we had Kim Kardashian, we had Kris Jenner, we had Katy Perry, we had Eva Longoria, and they were going out on private boats and private yachts and staying in fabulous, fancy hotels. Here's my thing. Okay, I don't do destination weddings. I sure as hell would never do a destination bachelor party. And for all the girls out there, drop a comment and tell me what you think. Do you want to go to a destination bachelorette in Europe? So let's say you live in California. You have to pay to go to the bachelorette, and then you fly home, and then you have to pay to go back to Venice for the wedding, which is later in June. Okay, we're talking potentially thousands, tens of thousands of dollars just to be friends with these people, okay? This is a very expensive friendship, but for Lauren Sánchez and Jeff Bezos, all of their friends seem to be wealthy, right? I don't think they have like the one normal working friend, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if they have someone who's like an administrative assistant somewhere or a CPA. How does that friend go to the wedding, okay? If you're a Kardashian, you can make it to the wedding. But if you're like the normal friend who's a school teacher or some of us who aren't making gazillions of dollars, how the hell do you partake in any of this? And then if you do you feel left out in a way? And then I look at Lauren Sánchez, right? Lauren Sánchez, she's performing for the cameras. She is very extra right now. She's really turning it on, living it up, posting, posting, posting. You have to understand, she is now best friends with the Kardashians, right? Her best friends are Kim Kardashian, Kris Jenner, also Katy Perry. These are fame-hungry people. Do you know what I'm saying? She is so fame hungry and she's learning all of this from the Kardashians. How could she not, right? Kris Jenner is now Lauren Sanchez's mentor. She's in every picture at the wedding. And this is a woman who allegedly pimped out her daughter's sex tape, got them on a reality show. We can talk about Kylie Jenner. Kris Jenner apparently thought it was fine that she was like 12, getting her lips blown up with silicone or whatever the hell she was doing. So Lauren Sánchez, these are kind of the perfect people for her to be friends with, right? The Kardashians. These are her people. This is who she has become. Now let's get into some more information about the wedding. I will also say this. When it comes to destinations, I don't want to leave my house. Okay, so if any of my friends are watching this, don't invite me to a destination wedding. I am not coming to a destination wedding. I don't know if I even want to show up at my own wedding, okay, if it requires getting dressed and going outside. And also, nobody's proposed yet. So the actual wedding is rumored to cost $10 million. This is supposed to be a $10 million wedding in Venice. They've booked Elton John and Lady Gaga, potentially to perform. Very relatable, very relatable. It's apparently going to take place on a Venetian island in an open air theater. And it might be streamed on Amazon. No, I'm just kidding. This wedding, it's so over the top, but when you're worth hundreds of billions of dollars, these folks are just living a life we could never relate to, right? We will never relate to having $1 billion or $100 million or hundreds of billions of dollars. So for them, they're like, let's get Lady Gaga to perform. Oh, we can get Elton John. Let's get him to perform. Let's get the Rockettes. This is what Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sánchez are doing. I will say, though, I pray Jeff Bezos has a prenuptial agreement, okay? We want prenup, we want prenup. He better have an ironclad prenup because his last wife walked away with half of Amazon. And I'm not judging a book by its cover or who you're gonna love by your lover, but Lauren Sánchez, she does seem like someone who in divorce court would try to walk away with a big chunk of Amazon. Okay, I'm not saying Lauren Sánchez is in it for the money. Mrs. waving the ring around, posing for the camera, hanging out with the Kardashians. We are not saying Lauren Sánchez is a fame-hungry whore. We're not saying that at all. But Jeff Bezos, if you are listening, listen to your friend Link here. Listen to Link. You need to sign a prenup with Lauren Sánchez. I'm not joking around on that one. So I also have to wonder a few things. When you go to a wedding for Lauren Sánchez and Jeff Bezos, do they have a wedding registry? Because me, number one, I hate wedding registries. But what do you get one of the wealthiest people on earth? If he's worth hundreds of billions of dollars, if he sends out a wedding registry, that is going straight into my trash, okay? What do you get these people? Do you get them like a set of pans, a Le Creuset crock pot? Do you get them a $50 Amazon gift card? What the heck do you get Lauren Sánchez and Jeff Bezos on their wedding registry? You have to just get them something from the heart. I don't know what you would get these people because they're already living a life none of us can relate to. Now, we have to talk about where the wedding party will be staying. So according to my sources, I was on the phone with, my European sources. I was sort of deciphering what they were saying. The wedding party is going to be staying at the Aman Venice. Now there's, Aman Ghani, there are Aman resorts all around the world. And then the other folks will be staying at the Gritti Palace, which apparently they've rented out for $500,000 a night. Now, when I was preparing for this episode, I asked my boyfriend, have you been to Venice? Have you stayed at these places? My boyfriend tells me, oh, I've stayed at the Gritti Palace. It's fabulous. I said, you didn't stay there with me. Didn't take me to the Gritti Palace. Ruh-roh. I don't know who you were at the Gritti Palace with, but it sure wasn't me. Now we got to move on. We have to move on from Lauren Sánchez and Jeff Bezos to one of their best friends, Kris Jenner. We all know Kris Jenner, okay? The devil works hard, but Kris Jenner works harder. That is who she is, okay? Kris Jenner, who's been on TV since 2007. She is the matriarch of the Kardashian, Jenner empire. Well, her plastic surgery has hit the internet and she's copped to it. Kris Jenner has said, you know what? I did have some plastic surgery. I did get a little bit of a tune-up, a little nip, a little bit of a tuck. I would say it's a little more than a little. But Kris Jenner, she did cop to this. And we have some before and after pictures that we will put up on the screen. If you're with us on Apple, Spotify, iHeart, make sure to come to YouTube and look at the before and after pictures. Now, what's difficult about before and after pictures these days is that everybody has a filter on. So even in the after picture, Kris Jenner probably has a ton of filters because the Kardashians do not put out pictures unless they are heavily filtered. So we did some digging into exactly what was going on with Kris Jenner. So Kris Jenner, she's 69 years old. She looks great. Okay, she looks fabulous. But according to Page Six, this work was done by Dr. Stephen Levine, who allegedly did Lindsay Lohan, allegedly did Demi Moore. You know, Demi Moore had a situation recently. Some things didn't look right, okay? She needed the substance. Some things she had done were not settling properly. You know what I'm saying? But one issue I have, and I was noticing this with Kris Jenner's pictures and Demi Moore and a lot of these celebrities, they're getting these huge cheekbones. They're getting these like massive, massive, massive cheekbones. Why can't anyone look somewhat natural? Why do we need these huge, insane cheekbones that people can see from a mile away? I don't know when that became the norm. Why do you have to look like the person from Saw, Jigsaw? I haven't seen the movie, but y'all know what I'm talking about. When did this become the norm that you have to have an inordinate amount of filler put into your cheeks? I don't know what they are injecting them with. It is probably not Maha, Make America Healthy Again approved. It is probably toxic, but you know, she's a Kardashian. One thing I'll also say about Kris Jenner, people are coming at her for her plastic surgery. She has to keep up with all these daughters. Kris Jenner has 5,000 kids and they're all, you know, models. Kim is on the cover of Vogue and Kendall's a model and Kylie's done a lot to her face. So, you know, Mother Kris here, she has to keep up with the daughters. Now, the price tag for this type of surgery, back in 2020, the estimate for this surgery was $45,000. Now, as we know with inflation the past 5 years, that could be close to $80,000, $90,000. My guess, though, is that Kris Jenner paid nothing. The fact that she came out and said, yes, this is the doctor I worked with, this is all the work I had done, it makes me think she probably paid absolutely nothing for this surgery. The doctor is probably, you know, jumping out of his bones to do Kris Jenner's plastic surgery. I will say, though, when it comes to Kris Jenner and all of this plastic surgery, we could do a side-by-side of her and Caitlyn Jenner, right? Caitlyn Jenner went from Bruce to Caitlyn, went from a man to a woman, and still has had less procedures than Kris Jenner, okay? Kris Jenner still looks like she has had more plastic surgery than Bruce, okay? And Caitlyn Jenner, we have some mutual friends. Caitlyn Jenner, she's MAGA. Shout out to you, Caitlyn. I would rather party with Caitlyn Jenner than any other members of the Kardashian family. I probably wouldn't get in a, you know, vehicle with Caitlyn Jenner based on the stories we've seen. If I saw her on the road, I'd probably move into the shoulder. But when we look at Caitlyn Jenner and Kris Jenner side by side, it is dumbfounding that Kris Jenner has had more surgery than Bruce, okay? That is crazy, but that is the way it goes in the wacky, insane world of Hollywood. And like I said, we're here to break down the calamities of Hollywood and the circus of Washington, D.C. Now, we have to pay some bills. But after we pay some bills, we are back with some juicy, hot topics, probably some of the hottest topics we've had so far on this show. We're only a few episodes in, but let's pay some bills and I'll see you guys after. This episode is brought to you by Masa Chips. Did you know that chips and fries used to be cooked in tallow up until the 1990s when big corporations switched to cheap, processed seed oils? But today, seed oils make up 20% of the average American's daily calories, and recent studies have linked seed oils to metabolic health issues and inflammation in the body. Well, Masa decided to do something about it. They created a tasty and delicious tortilla chip with just 3 ingredients and no seed oils, just organic corn, sea salt, and 100% grass-fed beef tallow. These chips don't only avoid all the bad stuff, they taste incredible too. Masa is crunchier, tastier, and sturdier than other chips. They don't break in your guacamole. Snacking on masa chips is nothing like eating regular chips. With masa, you feel satisfied, light, and energetic, with no crash, bloat, or gross sluggish feeling afterwards. And an added bonus, the beef tallow makes the chips much more satiating, so you won't find yourself uncontrollably binging and still feeling hungry afterwards. Masa chips is beloved by tens of thousands of customers and has been endorsed by industry-leading health and nutrition experts like Ben Greenfield and Gary Brecka. Ready to give masa a try? Go to masachips.com/link and use the code LINK for 25% off your first order. That's masachips.com/link, code LINK for 25% off your first order. Well, we have to start with a developing story. Oui, baguette, get me my beret. We have trouble in paradise with Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel Macron. It makes me want a macaroon, even just saying it out loud. But we have a developing story. They were landing in Hanoi, Vietnam, and Brigitte Macron allegedly punched or slapped, she shoved her husband's face in what looked to be an aggressive spat. Now, the two of them, they put out a statement saying this was just playful. He initially told reporters, oh, we were bickering, rather playing with each other. And if there's one thing I know, the first statement out of your mouth is usually the truth. So when you say, oh, we were bickering, no, we were just playing with each other. We were playing. I don't know about that. I don't know if it's the language barrier. I don't know what's going on. I'm here to tell you there is trouble in paradise for Brigitte and Emmanuel Macron. That looked like it was going to leave a mark, okay? Brigitte Macron, she's got shoulders like a linebacker, an Adam's apple the size of Alabama. She probably has a strong left hook, right hook. That is going to be black and blue. So Emmanuel Macron, he might have to be borrowing some of her makeup to put that on. He's going to look like he went on a date with Chris Brown. I don't know what's happening. Maybe Brigitte Macron is the new Chris Brown. Maybe this is who she is. But if this is what's happening in public, let me tell you, the past 3 or 4 years covering politics, there's one thing I've learned, and it's that cracks become craters. So if they are fighting and being caught like this in public, there is so much more simmering beneath the surface that we don't even know about yet. Okay, if this is what is bubbling out into the public, they are on a public plane going out to greet reporters and shoving and slapping and hitting each other. Imagine what goes on behind closed doors. Okay, so Brigitte Macron, Emmanuel Macron, I hope they've saved their money so they can go to couples counseling. I hope they can see a therapist, but this is a developing story, and it's one that's either going to get shoved under the rug or it's going to grow and grow and grow. It'll be interesting to see when we come back for our next episode if this story has legs, but Brigitte and Emmanuel, we wish you well, you guys. Couple of the year. God bless you. Now, we got to move on to someone I really don't know much about, but anytime I see him or his cronies, I cringe. I can't handle it. So we have to talk about Jon Lovett from Pod Save America. This is a liberal podcast I imagine most of you do not listen to. This is a podcast where they went and interviewed Joe Biden. They went and interviewed Gavin Newsom at the height of the fires. Gavin Newsom was just sitting and doing podcast interviews. Well, Jon Lovett from Pod Save America, he came out and basically said he did not talk about Joe Biden's cognitive decline because he wanted Joe Biden to win. We actually have a clip. Let's take a look at the clip and then discuss.
I remember feeling, I want to talk about this as a huge liability. I want to talk about this as something Joe Biden can overcome. But I'm not going to go so far as to say, I think Joe Biden must drop out. He is too old to be president. A, because I didn't know exactly what was going on behind the scenes. But B, if Joe Biden is the candidate, I want him to fucking win because right. I care about the country and I can't, and I don't want to be somebody suddenly having the words we're saying taken out of context.
Jon Lovett, all of your friends from Pod Save America, you guys are low testosterone beta male shills. Low testosterone beta male shills. That's my new ringtone. You guys are a joke. Okay, the fact that you would rather have a brain dead zombie as president than someone who's actually functioning and can get up at 3 a.m. to go down to the Situation Room and handle a crisis is a joke. And it's why you should not be taken seriously whatsoever. And we also have some reporting in this new book, Original Sin. Apparently, Jon Lovett and his buddies over at Pod Save America, they met with Biden in April of 2024. And they said they were deeply disturbed. He was rambling. He was incoherent. Well, to my recollection, Joe Biden was still in the race until July 21st. So you're telling me April, May, June, July. You guys kept your mouth shut and you went out there on your podcast and on television and said Joe Biden is going to save democracy. Your podcast is called Pod Save America, and you didn't think that having a brain dead guy at the helm was a threat to democracy. All of you want to call Donald Trump a threat to democracy. Well, guess what? He can actually count to 10 and walk in a straight line, and he knows the temperature of the room. The same cannot be said for Joe Biden. So all of you guys are a joke. I would love to come on their podcast and rip them a new one, but from what I've heard, they look like they might enjoy that, okay? They look like they might enjoy that a little too much. So no, John Lovett, all of these people at Pod Save America, nobody should ever take you seriously again. The fact that you saw Joe Biden was not well, and you said, you know what? I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything because I wanted him to win. So what's the game plan here, you dumbasses? He's going to win, or they ram and jam him through like the basement campaign in 2020. He dips out and leaves us with cackling, belligerent, drunk Kamala. That was the game plan for the Democrats? You geniuses. Good for you, Pod Save America. I do think you might want to change the name of the show. The show is called Pod Save America, but you clearly weren't interested in saving America because you were fine with having a man whose brains are mashed potatoes. We can also talk about the open border, sky-high inflation, the escalation of war around the world, the increase of the surveillance state under Biden. All of these things do not lead to saving America. So you guys go back to the drawing board. Like I said, you're a bunch of low testosterone beta male shills for the DNC, and it's why you probably won't have a career years from now. Now we have to move on. Something else that's tangentially related, Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson will not go away. Like I said, these two are almost like a rash you get on spring break in Fort Lauderdale. You try everything and it won't go away. That is who Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson are. We are still being subjected. We are still being subjected to the torture chamber that is this book tour. Okay, the book tour really started 2 weeks ago. It feels like it has gone on for 5,000 years. It was like Elton John or Barbra Streisand's farewell tour. It's still going, okay? They've been doing the farewell tour for 30 damn years. So Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, we are begging you to go away. But these two had the audacity to go on CNN and question President Trump's health. Okay, they didn't want to question Biden's health years ago, but now that they have egg on their face, they want to question Donald Trump's health. We have a clip. Take a look.
President Trump, while he appears healthy, he has not been transparent about his health records. And I think that that's something that the American people have a right to.
You want to add something?
Yeah, I think, listen, this is not the first time this has happened. Woodrow Wilson, FDR, JFK all hid significant medical failings. Joe Biden was not totally transparent. It is going to happen again.
I cannot take these guys seriously. Okay, thing one and thing two, little Tweedledee and Tweedledum, please go away. Either get a room or go away right off into the sunset together. The tension between you all, it needs to dissipate. If I never see these two people again, it will not be soon enough. Everything I've learned and seen about Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, I have learned against my will. And the fact that you are questioning President Trump's health is a joke, and it's why you all should not be taken seriously, okay? President Trump just completed a massive, grueling tour of the Middle East. He just gave an incredible commencement speech at West Point. He was running around, meeting the cadets, waving, shaking hands. This man is the Energizer Bunny, okay? There are people who are 21 years old struggling to keep up with President Trump because he has superhuman energy. He also just had a huge physical. He had a cognitive exam. All of that was released publicly, and he passed with flying colors. So Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson, they feel like, well, we kind of look like jokers and hucksters because we let a lot slide with Biden. Now we need to try to manifest health issues with President Trump. And I'm here to tell you that's just not the case. And that's not really how it works. He also goes golfing all the time. The man is golfing almost every weekend at Bedminster or Mar-a-Lago or in Virginia at one of his properties. He can play 18 holes. He could do another 18 holes. So telling me that President Trump has not been transparent about his health is a joke. But this seems to be the new mainstream media narrative. They say President Trump is not transparent with the media. He's not transparent with his health. He could not be more transparent with the media. The man opens sources and posts what he's thinking on Truth Social and says, hey guys, what do you all, the electorate, the American voters, think about X, Y, and Z? He invites reporters into the Oval Office almost every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. He is available to the press. Also, his medical records are out there. So this is the new narrative. We're going to be tracking this. CNN, the mainstream media, they're really trying to say President Trump is not transparent. Every accusation is an omission, okay? From the mainstream media, that's really what's going on. They're admitting their own guilt. They've been hiding things for years. They hid and covered for Joe Biden. That's exactly what's happening. Now we have to move on to someone who could have been president. And I thank God every single day that Miss Kamala Harris is not president of the United States, but an article came out a few days ago with some reporting, also from Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson's book, that Kamala Harris called Anderson Cooper a mother-effer. Now, I'm not going to say the word because my mom's Bible study is watching. Hi, ladies. But I will read you the quote. So after Kamala Harris did an interview with Anderson Cooper, this was around the time Joe Biden had that terrible, horrific debate performance where they were all unmasked as liars and frauds because it was clear they were hiding something. Kamala did a sit-down interview with Anderson Cooper, and he asked her some basic questions any vice president would expect to be asked. Anderson Cooper is not someone who is taking Democrats to task all day long, okay? It was pretty much a softball interview. But Kamala Harris, she can't handle any interviews. So here's what she said. Kamala said this about Anderson Cooper. This mother effer doesn't treat me like the damn vice president of the United States. I thought we were better than that. Kamala, you didn't act like the vice president of the United States, okay? You wouldn't even go down to the border except for 12 minutes, and you were put in charge of the border. You were the border czar, Kamala Harris. But I am not shocked to hear that Kamala Harris is freaking out and yelling and calling people mother effers. This is someone, and we weren't supposed to talk about this. There were a few of us who were. Kamala had a 92% staff turnover between January of 21 and January of 2025, okay? Kamala Harris, she could not keep her staff. In my opinion, she is a belligerent drunk. Everybody knows that, okay? She does not need to run for office. She needs to run to Betty Ford or Cliffside, Malibu for a detox and a little drying out, okay? Kamala Harris is lazy. The only thing that works hard on Kamala Harris is her liver. So I am not surprised to hear that she is cussing people out, dropping F-bombs in private, going off, being belligerent and angry, because that's who Kamala Harris is. And her buddy Gavin Newsom, from what I hear, is a lot worse, but we'll get to those stories soon. I think those will sort of matriculate out as we get close to 2028. So Kamala, you don't need to run for office again. You need to run to Betty Ford. You need to dry out and stop calling people mother effers for asking you questions that you should expect to be asked. Now, our final story. This clip has been going viral. A college student who looks like an NYU student because she's in a purple gown. I went to NYU. It's the most liberal school on earth. The teachers are wearing like rainbow leggings and Birkenstocks. If I could go back and not attend NYU, I would. But this video has gone viral of this young girl not wanting to stand for the national anthem. She's like, I would never stand for the national anthem. And she's sitting there with a little sour puss look on her face. We have the video. Take a look. First thing that comes to mind, the theater kid in me has to say that national anthem, it was a little pitchy. It was a little pitchy. Find the note. I don't know who was singing the national anthem. Find the note, sweetheart. And as for the girl at hand who said, I will never stand for the national anthem, she sat there with a little sour look on her face. If you don't like America, if you don't like the national anthem, you do not have to be here. I don't know what's going on with all these college students at Columbia and Harvard. Let's strip all the funding because you guys don't have to come here, okay? These kids who go to these Ivy League universities, they're taught that basically we're put into two buckets. There are those who are oppressed. There are those who are oppressors. There are those who are colonized. There are those who are colonizers. Okay, I've been in these classes. They can't even define what a man is, what a woman is in these classes. They go around and they want to spend 30 minutes talking about their pronouns and crying boo-hoo-hoo and taking mental health days. So these kids, if y'all don't want to stand for the national anthem, go live somewhere else. Go move to Ireland with Rosie O'Donnell and her freaking herpes, fever blisters, cold sores she has all over her face, okay? And for all the folks in Ireland, if there's a breakout of herpes, fever blisters, and cold sores, Rosie O'Donnell, she's patient zero, okay? She might be patient X. She is ground zero for all of this. But no, I am just sick of these Ivy League kids, these higher education university students who hate America. They hate our country. Y'all don't have to live here. I am perfectly fine with you leaving. And last time I checked, according to Tom Homan and Kristi Noem, we have the self-deport app. You can actually get paid to deport yourself. So why don't you all deport yourselves if you don't like it? I'll also say this. I saw this morning President Trump is allegedly thinking about giving billions of dollars to trade schools and taking it away from some of these Ivy Leagues. I would 100% support this. I have been sounding this alarm for years, okay? We don't need these kids going to school and, being queer theater majors or Latinx literature majors and then wondering why they can't find jobs because they had BS majors in college and they have no real skills, okay? I've also said 1,000 times, I've told the parents who are listening, the moms, the grandmas, the dads, if your kid doesn't need to go to a 4-year university, go to a trade school, start working. Why should you get out with all of this debt, mountains of debt, no guarantee for a job? You know who's making 6 figures in New York City? Plumbers, carpenters, people who can actually build and do things, okay? I would kill for a man who knows how to fix a toilet or screw in a light bulb. You know what I'm saying? And people would pay top dollar for that. I feel like by the year 2030, we won't even have many plumbers or carpenters, okay? Those people will be making millions of dollars, 7 figures, because all of these kids majored in queer theater and Latinx literature. So we have to pay some more bills. But when we come back, we have 2 friends of mine discussing some Harry and Meghan hot topics, the Duke and Duchess of Soho House, the 2 little hucksters of Montecito. We'll be breaking down all the hot topics going on with them after we pay some bills. I'll see you guys. We've all had days when skin feels dull, hydration doesn't stick, and energy is all over the place. No amount of water, skincare, or coffee seems to help. That's when Peak's Radiant Skin Duo came to the rescue, and it's been a game changer ever since. This doctor-recommended duo, trusted by experts like Dr. Mark Hyman, Dr. Jason Fung, and Dr. Will Cole, supports whole body wellness from the inside out. With over 15,000 5-star reviews, it's clear this duo delivers results. Here's why it works. Sun Goddess Matcha provides steady, calm energy throughout the day, no jitters, packed with L-theanine for focus and EGCG antioxidants. It supports skin clarity and gut health, because great skin starts from within. BT Fountain electrolytes hydrate like nothing else. Even with plenty of water, many still feel dehydrated. The difference? Clinically proven ceramides lock moisture into the skin at a cellular level, leaving it plump, fresh, and glowing. Purity matters. Peak's quadruple toxin screening ensures all ingredients are free from heavy metals, pesticides, and mold. Just clean, science-backed hydration and energy. Say goodbye to fatigue, dry skin, and energy crashes, ready for healthier hydration. Get 20% off plus a free frother and glass beaker here. peaklife.com/link. Again, that's peaklife.com/link. Well, this wouldn't be an episode of Spot On with Link Lauren if we did not discuss Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Yet. The power of yet. We have to discuss everything that's going on with these 2 little hucksters, what's happening in Montecito, what's happening with the staff. So I have 2 friends joining me. They are royal experts. I thought I had my PhD in Harry and Meghanology. These 2 have me beat. They would trump me any day of the week. So I have to bring in my 2 good friends, Nancy and Stephanie Sidley. You might know them as the Sidley twins here on YouTube. How are you doing, my friends? Happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day. We are doing great. Congratulations on all your success. You are just doing a wonderful job. You are killing it, Link.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys. No, seriously, you guys have been so supportive. You're always so supportive. I love everything you're doing. Also, everything you're doing with animals. So we have to post about that. Thank you for everything. We have to jump right in or else they're going to move me along. We have to talk about the new staff, okay? Harry and Meghan apparently have this new staff they've hired. We looked into it. They're hiring a lot of former Obama staffers, former Bill Gates people. What's also interesting is these people talk about inclusivity, DEI, diversity. The staff is all white. Okay. What confuses me also is, why do you need such a massive staff when you don't do that much? But apparently the staff is going to help with the Netflix cooking show with Love Meghan. They're going to help with As Ever, the brand, and the podcast Confessions of a Female Founder. Female founder. So that is what the staff is going to be doing. What do you guys make of all of these new hirings? What do you think they're cooking up?
think they're cooking up anything, to be honest with you. I think those people need jobs. And all of a sudden, Harry and Meghan need a chief of staff each. I mean, each of them need it. I mean, that to me is crazy. I was reading somewhere that Harry now wants to do commercial ventures. So he might see like, this whole humanitarian thing isn't working out.
Harry needs a chief of staff.
Yes.
Like, I need a hole in my head.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just no.
But the diversity is what cracked me up when I saw the picture of all those people, because they literally have a DEI statement on the Archwell website saying how inclusive they're going to be. And I don't think I've ever seen them around any people of color ever.
Right.
When it comes to
except
their
Doria.
staff. Well, except for Doria.
Doria and Oprah.
Yeah, and Oprah. Yeah.
And Gail, they only hang out with famous people of color who are billionaires.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, it really... What blew my mind about the staff, right? They're hiring, 12 people, and Harry's got a communications director. She's got a communications director. My thing is this. You're trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. You could hire 100 people, but if the product itself isn't good or authentic, it's just not gonna relate. Doesn't it seem like Meghan Markle is trying to hire people to pump her up to be relatable, but she just doesn't have that in her?
I don't think she takes direction, because you would think there would be somebody at this point that would come to her. I mean, if she has somebody that used to work for Bill Gates, at one point, I'm not saying now, but at one point, wasn't Bill Gates kind of sort of relatable before this whole pandemic nonsense thing? I mean, I don't know. I was never in his world.
Well, he was allegedly self-made and built a huge company.
Yeah.
So I can understand wanting to hire someone who worked for Bill Gates, but when I look at the resumes, because I went into LinkedIn, I looked into all of these people. We will spare them for today, to use Prince Harry's word. We will spare them for today, but it's like, some of them haven't really done that much. It's like, yes, you worked at Hulu. Yes, you worked with Bill Gates, but you haven't done that much. And now you're going to go work for these two little hucksters on the cooking show. What do you even think is going to happen with the second season of the cooking show? Are the ratings going to be good? Are they going to lie about the numbers? What's going to happen?
Well, first of all, it's not a second season. It's part 2. They had already filmed this back in spring of 2024 when they filmed the first half. So Meghan going around saying this is a second season, that's a flat out lie. Second,
red flag number 2, they have Chrissy Teigen as their star.
It was first Mindy Kaling. That was their big celebrity. Now it's Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen, who is getting hairline surgery to bring. Did you see that recently?
Oh my God, no, I haven't seen this.
Oh,
What's
no,
going
she's
on?
getting hair plugs like Harry.
Yeah, she just put up on her Instagram page.
Did they meet in the waiting room?
No, but she is drinking again, because she she was sober for a while, because she blamed that on the reason why she was such a bully and a nightmare, and that's why she got canceled. She got dropped from Bloomingdale's, Macy's, Target, and then all of a sudden she's drinking again and she's going on Meghan's show.
I mean, because Meghan really does push for the censorship as far as children and the internet, but
And the bullying.
But we're still going to stay on Instagram, and we're going to bring in a big bully to this show.
Yes.
I mean, it just makes sense.
Someone that told a 16-year-old to off herself, literally go off herself. So,
wow. Yeah. I feel like Chrissy Teigen is kind of the professional best friend to all these celebrities. Like, Chrissy Teigen has no talent. She doesn't do anything. Yeah. But she was like friends with the Kardashians for a while. And then she was friends with this one. Now she's going to glom onto Meghan Markle. It's like, when you're glomming onto Meghan Markle, you need to reassess all of your life's choices. Now, what cringe moments are they going to have in season 2? Is she going to be cooking with Chrissy Teigen and be like, well, I'm Beckham now? What is she going to say?
I'm Beckham. Yeah. No, I have a prediction. I think that they are going to share the miscarriage story, because Chrissy Teigen had a miscarriage, and then Meghan Markle had a miscarriage.
3 different versions. And then Chrissy's version went from miscarriage, stillborn, to abortion. So who knows?
Chrissy's changed too. So who knows the lie is going to be this time, but they're going to just go, oh, see, we can relate to each other because we had this problem with each other. Allegedly.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like Meghan, even going on that Jamie Kern Lima podcast, she's trying to become this real feminist, motherly icon. Like, I'm good. I'm at peace. I'm here to tell you this woman is not at peace. I also feel like Meghan Markle is someone who wasn't meant to be famous. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she was meant to be famous, her action career would have popped off. She would have been a huge star. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think she was meant to be famous, but she ended up bagging this rich, eligible bachelor because she is cunning and she is conniving and she's calculating. But everything she tries to do sort of in the Hollywood celebrity world pretty much crashes and burns. I mean, do you guys think that as ever the brand is selling or doing well?
No, absolutely not. I've seen enough of these launches before where if they do sell out the way she says, they would be restocked in a week, a month. Mm-hmm. It's been almost 3 months. You mean to tell me that she can't restock anything at this point? And then Flamingo Estate, the big brand that she was trying to rip off of, just did a collab with King Charles and Burberry. They did a collab with Highgrove. So it's like, I don't think that brand's going to do anything anymore. I think she's going to hopefully have it quietly go away and hopefully people will forget about it, in my opinion.
We have to move on to the next topic, but the last thing I'll say is what always confuses me is that she has With Love, Meghan, As Ever with Meghan, and then Confessions of a Female Founder. And then she has Archewell. From a branding perspective, maybe one of her 15,000 employees can help her realize this. You have to really kind of shrink it and simplify it. You can't have 4 or 5 different names that people have to keep up with. You're Meghan Markle, then you're Meghan Sussex, then it's American Riviera Orchard, then it's As Ever. Don't you guys think the brand is just a hot mess and it just needs to be consolidated or go away?
Yes. It's schizophrenic. It is. Yeah. They need something like Bethany Frankel, Skinny Girl. That's it.
Yes.
Skinny Girl.
But it worked. It worked. Yeah, no, it does. It will probably go away. Maybe she does that so it does go away and she can reinvent herself, because in the last 5 years, that's all she's been doing is reinventing herself.
Well, what's also funny to me is that she's like, I'm so happy to have partnered with Netflix. We're going to be in all of these Netflix stores. Where are the Netflix stores?
Where are they?
When I see Meghan Markle's jam and jellies and raspberry spreads at Buc-ee's, then I will know she has made it. But until then, when I see Meghan Markle selling and hawking her products at Buc-ee's, you will know she has made it. She's the top of the heap. Yeah. But the Netflix stores, I've never seen a Netflix store. Really? And I thought the whole point was they don't have stores.
They don't. They have a Netflix shop, and we're huge Squid Game fans. So like, if we have to go get like merch or whatever, we go on there and get it. But it's like, no, that you will never see any product of Meghan Markle's in a Netflix shop ever.
Meghan, we expect to see you at Buc-ee's. So we have to move on to this other story about Prince William's new documentary on park rangers. You guys break down all the drama that's going on, because from what I read, Prince Harry, his organization, and some incidents, they said human rights abuses had occurred. What is going on, Stephanie and Nancy? What's happening?
This has been a story that we've been following for a couple years now, where the Bach people in the Congo were complaining of the African Parks Rangers of SA, torture. Some were being murdered. This little group of people who all they wanted to do was live on their land. And the African Parks people, the rangers, were just destroying their land and pushing them out. So an organization called Survival International were the ones to break it. And then it just went crazy. Harry and African Parks tried to bury this story. There was just so much pressure saying, no, we're not going to let this go. 2 years later, lo and behold, African Park said that they did do an investigation and that they ended up apologizing. They said, yes, SA did go on. Yes, torture went on. Yes, all this stuff went on. We apologize. They haven't said what they're going to do about it. But Harry used to be president of this. He started in 2016 when he met Meghan. And now he is part of the board of directors. It has been radio silent. Harry and Meghan freak out when the papers say that they made a gold-plated tub in Frogmore. They're the first ones to squash that story. But when it comes to this, they have been radio silent.
Crickets.
And so now Prince Charles.
Prince William.
Sorry, guys. Prince William has been working on this. He's been involved in the tusk trade since he was in his 20s. He's really like, conservation. So he's starting a BBC documentary, and it's all about how difficult it is to be a park ranger, the tough world. It can be very dangerous. And it's a 6-part series. We're looking forward to it. So I can't wait to see it.
Maybe it'll do better than the Polo documentary. Harry and Meghan, they thought, you know what Americans really want to watch? A documentary about polo. Oh, that's great. And they can have little nacho figueras in it. Oh, it'll be chef's kiss. Amazing. So no, this does sound horrific. I can't wait to see Prince William's documentary. I do think it's interesting they have stayed silent, but they know the press is bad. And it looks like the investigation concluded on May 8th. And that's where they said human rights abuses had occurred. So if they don't address this soon, it's going to be June 8th, July 8th. We're going to be coming up on a month here. So why don't they say something? I think they need to go back to the drawing board and address this, because Meghan Markle, she's also the type of girl who says she wants to bring tampons and feminine products to Africa, to the Middle East, which I think is a great, worthwhile cause. Get them to remote areas, right? They were trying to do that years ago with medications. How can we transport them into some of these remote areas where they don't have these things? So if they don't come out and speak about this when she's supposed to be this humanitarian, I think they're going to look like frauds even more than they already do, you guys.
Oh, absolutely.
I think the bottom line is they just don't care.
Right.
It's unfortunate to say, but they just don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They want
Absolutely.
the fame.
And if it doesn't help them, then they're not going to do it. Yeah, they're not. Right now, what we're seeing are distractions. We're seeing all these distractions. It's like Beyonce going to James Taylor concerts.
Right.
The BBC interview saying my dad doesn't have much time left. These are all the distractions to what's really important, Baka people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So our last topic, we have to talk about the note on the plane. Let's play the clip and then we'll discuss, you guys.
You guys will not believe who I just had on my flight, who I had a pleasure of serving. The Queen, the Princess, the Duchess of Sussex. The Meghan Markle was on my flight, and she's so beautiful in person. She was so sweet. She wrote us a little handwritten note back. So rewrote her note that said, "It's a pleasure of serving you. We love you real bad." And she wrote this note back that says, "Dear AA girlies, thank you for the love, hospitality, and handwritten note. You know me well. All love right back to you." And then I think it says, "Forever, Meghan." I can barely read this cursive. But look at this handwriting is giving rich. It's giving expensive. It's giving princess.
I love that she doesn't really know who she is. She's like Queen, Princess, Duchess, Meghan, Markle. Like, she doesn't know who the hell she is, you guys. What do you make of this note on the plane?
Immediately, it was so false to me. I'm sorry. It's very hard to believe this happened because, Link, I'm sure you know, when you fly planes, and especially when you're in well, first of all, does Meghan really fly commercial? No.
Not all the time, no.
Yeah, but if you do fly and you're flying first class, there's a privacy issue. If every single flight attendant went and made a TikTok video every time Julia Roberts was on a plane or Link Lauren was on a plane, there would be, I'm just being serious, there would be a huge privacy issue.
You can't dox the people.
Yeah, saying you work for American Airlines, and then what if somebody knows that girl and says, well, I know her route? I'm sorry. It was just very hard to believe. Now, if it did happen, then this girl is hilarious because obviously Meghan, her handwriting, she was trying to say as ever, but the girl thought it said forever.
Yeah.
And it's like, not even a pharmacist could read Meghan Markle's handwriting at this point. It's such a disaster. But I just find it very hard to believe. But then I looked for it. You know, I always go to People magazine because they're Meghan and Harry's mouthpiece. They're the ones that pick up their stories.
Totally.
People magazine put it in. So what do you think? Do you think it was for PR or do you think it actually happened?
I think it could have happened. I'm not sure. You know, Meghan Markle, I also have to say, imagine you get on a plane and flying is bad enough. Everybody in the comments, you know, flying sucks these days. You get on a plane, and to make matters worse, Meghan Markle is on the plane. Oh my God, it's like snakes on a plane. Snakes on a plane. Literally, that's the only thing worse than snakes on a plane is getting on and seeing Harry and Meghan seated next to you on the flight. So I don't know if the note was real. I will say there is a privacy issue, but doesn't it remind you of when Meghan talked about leaving the royal family and she said like the captain, or she said whoever was overseeing the crew came and knelt next to her? You guys, what do you make of that? Isn't it reminiscent of that whole situation?
She's like,
thank you for your
she goes,
your service.
Like, he came in and he knelt down and he took off his hat and he said, ma'am, thank you for your service. And then tears are streaming down her face. And she's like, I tried. I tried so hard. And he goes, I know you did, ma'am. I know you did. I tried.
She's so full of shit. I will also say it's Memorial Day. We said at the top of the show, thank you to people who have actually served and sacrificed for our country so we can sit here and run our mouths. Meghan Markle hasn't sacrificed shit, okay? No. She got everything handed to her. She only lasted like 18 months in the royal family and then said, peace out. And I just don't believe that any British, like a British Airways flight, I just don't see someone coming over and telling Meghan Markle, thank you for your service and everything you've done for our country. I think they'd probably be monarchist or pretty loyal to the monarchy. So I don't ever see that being a reality. But don't let, you know, the truth get in the way of a good lie for Meghan Markle, as we've seen 1,000 times before. Well, do we have any final words? Is there anything we haven't gotten into that you guys want to express or say about Harry and Meghan that the audience should know?
Oh man, just Harry and Meghan, just keep it up, because seriously, you have become the court jesters of the monarchy. And we're just starting to love you in America in the sense that you guys are just jokes, and it just keep it up, you know, as long as you don't hurt anyone, you know, like you're never going to apologize to your family, which is what we wanted. The Queen is never going to be able, and Prince Philip are never going to be able to get an apology. But, you know, we continue to honor their legacy by just making sure you stay a joke in America. And that's all you'll ever be. And just keep it up, guys. You're doing a great job.
You're doing a great job.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we need another big thing, because they're just the content that keeps on giving. We need season 2 of the show. I'm worried though that they've, you know, maybe they've wised up a little bit and they know season 1 was just canned and made fun of, and they're going to try to make season 2 better. But you guys said it was filmed beforehand.
It's already
so filmed.
It's already filmed.
It's already filmed.
And they have Chrissy Teigen.
Yeah, Chrissy Teigen already said, she goes, I filmed this last spring in 2024. It's already done.
Wow. And the fake kitchen and the fake house. Oh, one last question I have to ask you guys about Harry and Meghan. What is going on with the children? Okay, what is going on with Lilibet and Archie? Why are they starting to post more about the kids now? Is it because they need fame? They need People magazine spreads? Because it reminds me of when the Kardashians said, we're never going to have our kids on the show. Kim said, I'm never going to put North on camera. Now all we see is Northwest. Don't you guys think they're sort of trotting the kids out to compete with William and Catherine over in the UK?
You know, Meghan knows what she's doing. She has watched in my opinion, she's watched the Kardashians. So yeah, Kim did do that. But by Kim doing that, Kim was able to monetize her kids for more money in the long run. You know, Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, I remember when Shiloh Jolie was born and everybody wanted to see her picture. And they did a very smart thing as parents. They said, you know what, we're going to do a spread with People and Hello Magazine. We're going to give the money they gave us to charity. And they were very transparent. And they said, that way we don't put a bounty on our daughter's head. You see her picture. Now you're not going to go after it. Meghan knows the longer she waits to get a crystal clear shot of those kids' face, because she knows she can't do it in California because it's illegal for paparazzi to take a picture. So she knows that she's going to get more money. Now, is she waiting for the divorce so she can not have to split the money with Harry? Because right now, any money they make off the kids, it's community property. It's a no-fault state.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is happening. That's my opinion. What do you think, Link? I mean,
I definitely think as they become thirstier and more desperate, because in my opinion, Harry and Meghan's brand was really hot when they left the royal family. When there was all that drama, the original Netflix docuseries, I think from the end of 2022 or whenever it came out, the 6-part docuseries, the ratings were incredible. You know, the book Spare sold like crazy. But now, okay, what's next? The whole thing was that you're ex-royals and you fled the royal family. There's really nothing left except to whore the kids out. I hate to say it, but Meghan Markle, she is going to keep sharing pictures of the kids as they become more desperate for press and attention, you guys. But we will have you back on. I want to have you back on with Dan Wooten. I want to do a whole royal panel sometime when something big happens, when they step in some crap and something big happens, we all have to come on, have a party and talk about it. But Nancy, Stephanie, Sidley, thank you so much. Everyone go subscribe to Twin Talk with my friends on YouTube. Well, my friends, that is all for Spot On with Link Lauren. We will be back on Wednesday with more breaking news, all the calamities going on in the world. We have to keep up with what's happening with Brigitte and Emmanuel Macron. But you guys, I love you. Like I always say, it's come one, come all to the Halloween ball. As long as you like the truth and you have a sense of humor, you are welcome here on this show. And thank you for sharing the show. Thank you for giving us 5 stars on Apple, anywhere you get your podcast. The success of the show has really come from word of mouth. I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.